Please note that nothing in this podcast should ever be taken as personal financial advice.
And if you are seeking financial advice, reach out as we work with professionals in the industry. And welcome back to another episode of the Finance Bible podcast. It's your boy Zeke, joined with fellow co-founder Oscar. Mate, that moustache is absolutely superb.
Oh, thank you very much. I've been growing it out for quite a while now. Rumour has it I started early last month, not even November. So fake news though, but it was a...
I was going to say that it kind of takes away from it.
It was a November or Movember growth. But yourself, you're looking pretty sharp with your mo as well.
Oh, just getting around to the cause, mate. You know, you've got to get out there. You've got to really help everyone and raise awareness for Movember.
Exactly right. It is a bit, having a mo though, because we're not quite used to it, it is a bit weird. I find myself just literally playing with it all day, every day, just at my desk or whatever.
He is known to play with it.
Find myself playing with my mo, that is, all day, every day. It's a bit of a habit, but that's what happens. I might have to make it an actual look going forward, potentially.
Oh, questionable. I'm all about getting around it for the cause of mental health, etc. But I don't know if you should just rock the mustache full time.
Oh, fair enough, mate. Well, look, I'll grow it out and you can cop it.
All right.
Bit of a different podcast today. We kind of just want to share our story, our goals, our aspirations, how we got here, where we are now, and a bit of background personally to us, and kind of just figure out and get you guys to know and learn a bit more about us as individuals, as the Finance Bible. So a bit of a interview, well, not an interview, but a bit of a...
bibliography.
Bit of a bibliography, a podcast bibliography of the boys.
A bibliography.
Oh, bibliography. It's actually not that bad.
I know. All right, well, mate, let's start off with your childhood. Tell me about a bit of your childhood in terms of going to school, getting raised financially, and just a bit about you, what you were interested in as a child and stuff like that.
Yeah, so as you know, I grew up in Melbourne. Growing up, very fortunate. Both my parents were and are very financially savvy. They have their own investment properties. They invest. They're pretty switched on when it comes to their money and handling all that. So from an early age, without even knowing, I was kind of thrown into the investing or the finance kind of life and world in a way, just subconsciously without even thinking about it. But growing up from prep till still to now, used to just love footy.
Prep, there's different terms in New South Wales. What is prep?
What is prep here? Prep is the year before year one.
Oh, okay, that's kindergarten.
Well, we got kindergarten before prep.
What? That's preschool.
But yeah, at school, I was very into sport, more of a sporty than an academic individual. So I was always playing, especially AFL football with all my mates, getting into that. Played up until I was 18. Now I'm just playing for a bit of fun, which is good.
So, mate, that's good getting a bit of a background on your schooling and a bit of your family and everything growing up. In school, at what point did you start learning about finances?
To be honest, probably never. That's the funny thing, because at school, and a big driver why we're actually doing this podcast is no one actually learns about any finances. I probably learnt it all at home, with dad, with mum, probably on the internet as well, just videos on YouTube, whatever I was watching, maybe read some books back when I never used to read. But at school, yeah, literally up until year 12, year 11, year 12, I had no idea. Obviously, we did maths, English, all the typical subjects which everyone does. But to learn about budgeting, tax, depreciation, compound interest and all that, you actually never really get taught anything. It's insane. So I reckon self-education for myself was probably the key driver of why at the moment, we are informed and we do have a bit of knowledge in the industry. Without that, I probably wouldn't be here. What about yourself, mate? Your story, what happened growing up, similar situation? What were your hobbies at school? Were you always a bit of a finance whiz back in the day and you were running around? Or I've heard a few stories of you in school, so please tell everyone.
I was what you'd call an advanced human being.
Advanced? So, in a way, a bit of a man-child?
Yes. As in, I grew up different in terms of having financial stability all around me, etc. My parents weren't really in a position that was financially great. They're not broke, they're not poor, so don't get that idea. But no, they weren't like investing. They weren't taking the steps that you should to secure retirement, etc. Yeah, I went to preschool, kindergarten, year one. When I got to year one, I was actually getting in a fair bit of strife at school.
Year one, you started getting in strife.
Yeah, I copped a few suspensions, supposedly had some behavioural issues, which now I know when I was at that point in time, I was actually functioning on a higher level than my peers.
It's a good way to say that you're smarter than everyone else.
Well, it's a way to say it without being a flog. But so I was quite bored year one, year two, getting in a lot of trouble and trying to entertain myself, which then caused the teachers to react with not only suspending me, getting me in trouble for things, but they actually moved me into a year four class when I was meant to be in year two and kind of built up that momentum long term. So I was reading the books for like the year four, year five people when I was in year two and so on.
One of those kids.
Yeah, so it was really good, my school, like being able to recognise that and provide me with the further education, which was great because then I was just into sport, into doing work I was doing.
A lot of time to enjoy your other activities.
Yeah, that's it. And then I got to high school and all of a sudden that program didn't exist. I wasn't in a position where there was a way for me to have enhanced learning opportunities. So in high school, I got to a point where it was through year 7, year 8, year 9 and year 10, I did not learn, and I can happily say, or comfortably say, I did not learn one thing in year 7, 8, 9, 10 that I didn't already know from primary school.
This is what we're doing, just mucking around.
I was an absolute nightmare. You think about it, you're sitting in a room for 4 years, learning things you've already learned. What are you going to do as a kid? You're going to find a way to have fun. And unfortunately, the teachers always think it's not fun. Yeah, so then year 11, year 12, I academically began learning stuff because they introduced new topics. And yeah, finished school. But I never had any, up until about halfway through year 12, I never had any financial background. Wasn't exactly a great student.
What was the financial background halfway through year 12? Like, were you getting taught financial education, or were you jumping on your own, finding mentors, self-education, that kind of stuff?
Halfway through year 12, I turned 18 and I was like, what can I do with the money? So I started diving into stocks and reading a lot about investing and things. It was at that point where I noticed that's the kind of path that I'm going to go down.
Yeah, and you haven't really looked back since then, obviously.
Not at all. I haven't gone back to before those days for quite a while.
Well, mate, it's perfect. Get a bit of an understanding of the younger Zeke.
Oh, you don't want too much of an understanding, believe me. Mate, what was the turning point for you? What triggered you wanting to go down this path of getting into financial planning and the finance industry itself?
Yeah, well, I think for a few years after I actually graduated, so during high school, I didn't really take it too seriously, or secondary school, whatever people call it. I didn't take it too seriously, so I just finished school, mucked around, got out of school, just chilling out really, literally for probably 2 years. It wasn't until 2019 probably, which was 3 years after I graduated, which I bit cliche, but I was kind of brushing my teeth, looking in the mirror. I was like, what on earth am I doing? Like, I'm literally wasting my time. I'm not motivated at all. So basically from that point, everyone has a turning point. That was my turning point. I realized I need to get my shit sorted, get my stuff together. Got a job at a bank, because before that I was doing a bit of casual work. Got a job at the bank, started reading all this finance, news articles, investing articles, basically just learning everything which I've, down the track in my past, I had been interested in a little bit, but then I took it a step further and actually learned all about it. Started investing a lot in the ASX, bit in crypto, but that was a turning point. Got a job at the bank, and probably 7 months into the job at the bank, it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I was literally on the other side of the phone, other side of the computer, not actually client-facing, not helping individuals at all with, sorting out their wealth, getting them properties, building that family's wealth, protecting them with insurance, whatever it may be. So then from that point, I realized I don't want to do this. I want to get out. I really want to fast track my career. booked a flight to Sydney, had some job interviews, and then came to Sydney and never looked back. 9 months down the track, loving life.
You met the man, the myth, the legend.
Met you,
Zeke
mate.
G.
That's it. And
that's
then
when it all
literally
started.
probably 3 to 4 months since. Yeah, haven't looked back since. Still, obviously, self-educate myself, as I do believe, and also yourself. That's probably the biggest thing or biggest asset anyone can ever have. Knowledge is absolute power. So no one can ever take knowledge away from you. No one.
For me, it's pretty funny, similar background in terms of realized, you wanted to wake up, get out of the rat race, start doing something. You were like, what am I doing with my life?
Exactly right.
For me, as soon as I finished high school, I was working at Macca's during high school. I used to pull the classic 2 a.m. till 8 a.m. and then go to school afterwards. As soon as I finished, I got a job working for a company that basically does all of the call centres for Westpac, Bank of Melbourne, St. George, Bank SA, and Rams and all of that. After a couple of months there, they made me a manager, and then I began managing all of their call centres. And same thing with Oscar. At that point in time, as a manager, I got access to a lot more information, like how much money we're making, seeing exactly what the client situations were, what complaints we were getting. And at that point, I went, I'm on the wrong team. I'm on the wrong
You're
team.
on the wrong side of the fence.
Yeah, no, I was on the wrong side of the fence, and I went...
You didn't want to be trapped, in that job, in that work environment forever.
I started feeling guilty.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I had people crying on the phone, telling me stories and stuff, and I was like,
Oh, mate, I experienced some of that as well. It's not too good.
Yeah, sorry, there's nothing I can do. End the call. But that's kind of what triggered me to get here. So I came in to Sydney, started again like Oscar, I just packed my bags, jumped on out, came to Sydney.
Yeah, very, very spontaneous, but always massive risk doing something which, you're jumping out of your bloody bubble.
You are.
A bubble which you've been growing up with for 18 plus years, and you just take a leap of faith. Best decision ever.
It was. And here we are. Oscar and I met each other 6 to 7 months later and had the opportunity to suddenly do a bit of client facing together. And
That's where it all started.
that's where the most memorable drive to a client meeting began. I wouldn't call it a drive to a client meeting. I'd call it a joyride for business. I don't even know.
Business, entrepreneurial opportunities, if that's how we say it.
I'd call it more
Mate,
of a business development strategy car
Explain
drive.
what happened in that car. This is literally the turning point with everything, this car ride.
So we're driving out to this meeting. It's our first client meeting that we've had and our first meeting together. I did a couple before, but I was with other people and it's a bit different. But we're playing Pitbull, obviously, because you want to get pumped up. You want to feel good and get ready for the meeting. So we've got Pitbull pumping. We kind of just look at each other and we're like, mate, no one understands this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we're just talking through what we're going to say and how it's going to work.
Who's
Anyway.
going to take the lead? Who's
Yeah.
going to bounce off?
And we get in the meeting, we sit down, we're doing the meeting, we're looking at each other like, this is working really well. We finish the meeting, we win the client, obviously, and on the drive home, we're kind of sitting in the car and we're like, mate, what we just did is life-changing.
Yeah.
How good would it feel if you could do that
To everyone.
forever and to everyone? And at that point in time, we kind of just clicked and we're like, mate, we're making a finance Bible.
Yeah, that was literally the turning point. And from that, from that conversation, what we did, firstly, figured out what we're going to be talking about, target market, figured out the Instagram name, got the Instagram account up. And from that point, just kept going and posting. The first few posts, though, if you do scroll back,
Are quite poor.
on the Instagram page, are quite poor. But yeah, we found an opportunity in a bit of I think in this industry, it's a very niche area. No one, especially like financial planners, advisors, help other people for free. As we spoke about yesterday, a lot of individuals these days and actual financial planning is becoming quite expensive. A lot of individuals can't actually pay for it and fund it. So they're obviously looking for YouTubers, influencers they call them, Instagram pages, people who are actually going to share the insights without charging. So we just jumped into that and here we are.
My favorite thing about how it all kind of started was the amount of spontaneous, random decision that ended up where we are. So me moving to Sydney, Oscar moving to Sydney, that car trip out where we both were like, let's just do our first client meeting and went together, getting the client, Listening to Pitbull, major factor, because he got us in the right headspace.
Whatever you say.
And then at that point in time, when we decided to make the finance bubble, I think we'd only actually known each other for 2, maybe 3 months.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, if even.
Yeah.
And it all just worked, and here we are.
And yeah, consistency. And from that time, it's quite insane to see the growth of the actual page and the podcast listeners growing a lot recently, which thanks to you guys, couldn't do anything without you. So that's awesome. I'm sure everyone's actually sharing it with friends and family like we do say. But from that first month to where we are now, from the page and the growth, it is insane.
Yeah, that's our story of our humble, very humble beginnings, especially on my behalf. Yes, my teachers will agree that I've been very humble.
Very humble.
The only other thing we really want to touch on is you've got a bit of our background. You understand that anyone can kind of do anything they want with the way that the two of us have come together and done this. The other question you all probably have, or the other thing you all are saying is a reason not to do whatever you want to do in life, is how do you manage your time? And Oscar and I were actually having a chat in the car, mate. The car is where everything happens, I've noticed. We're in the car this morning. Bieber on in the background. Yes, we're going to his concert in 2022. A lot of people that I've talked to have been like, how do we manage our time? You know, we're up at 4:30, going to the gym at 5 o'clock, finishing the gym, having a shower, going to work until 6 p.m, finishing work, going home, studying for our Masters of Financial Planning, and then doing extracurricular activities as well on the side. For example...
You're laughing? How come you're laughing there, mate?
I was just going to say, Oscar does a bit of AFL.
Yes. Yeah, got to keep fit, do some community sports.
Yeah, so you're fitting in work, gym, exercise as well as the gym, social outings, and if you follow any of us, you know we like social outings. Like, I'm not lying. So time management is something that if you've got the dedication to sit down, make a plan and stick to it, anything is possible.
Oh, mate, 100%. And I think a lot of people in today's society, everyone thinks they have to sleep 8 to 9 hours a day or a night. Wake up, go to work, everyone's drained after work, come home, sit on the couch all night, eat dinner, go to bed, repeat. But you have 24 hours in a day. It's literally, if you can't fit it after work, get up earlier and do it. Like, I was in that situation probably 2 years ago, was hating coming back home from work because I was literally just tired. But wake up early, you have an extra 2-3 hours, depending on when you wake up. You can fit everything in. And also, I think mindset itself is a massive player in the game. If you're tired, if you're thinking you're tired and you can't be bothered doing anything, you're obviously not going to do anything. But if you switch your mindset and click it to a positive mindset, anything is possible. That's kind of how you and I can, or in general, our day-to-day life can keep going.
And the biggest part of that is actually finding other people matching your mindset. If you don't have that friendship group or support group all in the same kind of mindset, you've got one person dragging you down, then it's going to impact you.
Yeah, it is pretty rough to say, but if your friendship group isn't talking about, in my opinion, personal growth, investing, just things that are going to grow you as a person. If you feel like you're getting dragged down, I think it's fair to say it's probably best to look for another friendship group, because you don't want those people dragging you down in life, because time goes quick, but you got to make the most of it. And a good way, just to finish off with this conversation, what else we do is to because we do have a lot of things going on, and I'm sure everyone else has a lot of things going on, but you got to wind down. So we have been recently in the last couple of months getting into a bit of yoga. Get the Zen state, 10, 15, 20 minutes a morning. That's all you need. But it just disconnects everything. You feel fresh. You're ready to go. The day is yours. The world is your oyster. Hit it hard.
That's it. A few hours on waking up, going to the gym, half an hour on yoga, 9 to 10 hours at work, 2 to 3 hours on working on your side business, bit of exercise and social outings on the weekends. It's that easy.
Yeah, and even if you have trouble, write a little timetable for yourself like the school days.
And make sure you set goals.
Set goals. Manifest is also key. Big manifest myself. If you have affirmations, keep saying them. They will come true.
That's about it for today's podcast. We just wanted to share more about us and really show people we're nothing overly special or anything like that, that other people can follow their dreams. Keep budgeting,
keep investing.
And keep listening.
Thanks.
Thank you.